I have the good fortune this afternoon of talking to the unexpected, the talented, the wonderful, the surprising Mr. Trevor Ashley.
Hi, I'm Liza, and I'm so excited to be here. And where am I?
Trevor Ashley is performing his Liza On An E show at the Lyric Theatre on Monday night, and I'm here to find out what that is. Tell me, Trevor, what is Liza On An E? For those who've never seen it before, what is it?
It's basically like a fantasy concert of that Liza would be giving if she was as honest on stage as we all know what she's actually like in real life. So I think it's yeah, it's kind of like what you'd love her to say, what you'd love her to sing, and what you'd love her to talk about. I think for most fans and for anybody who knows Liza at all.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York.
Now I want to know how you actually came to find yourself doing impersonations, writing your own shows. How did that happen?
I wanted to always be in musical theatre and cabaret, and I guess what happened was I wasn't going very well. I think was the main thing. That I kept getting auditions, and I'd go and they'd call back and call back and call back and never get the role. This drag queen came to see one of my cabarets at Glen Street Theatre and said, "Have you ever thought about doing drag?" And I went, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Well, I think you'd be really good. You should come down to the Albury and watch us get ready one night. You can learn how to do makeup." So I did. I went down and I started doing drag in the pubs. And basically for 5 years, it was how I earned all my money. It was just literally, I'd work 5-6 nights a week in all these different venues.
So how do you go from a pub where you're doing drag to being at the Lyric Theatre in the West End?
Well...
And I see the smile on your face. It must feel fantastic.
It's wonderful. Well, look, I got into Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and that was the first musical that I finally got, and it was so funny. There was a casting director who you'd know, Amanda Pellman, who had tried to cast me in so many things, and she really pushed hard for me on so many previous attempts. When I got this close every time, and then she was so thrilled because she was casting Priscilla, and she said, "And you do drag, and it's perfect, and you can do this." So they wrote a role for me and created a part, and all of a sudden I was in the show.
But surely doing your own shows has made you more castable. I mean, it's ironic that you couldn't get into shows, but now that you've actually written your own shows, I imagine they want to cast you in their shows.
I think that's sort of kind of how it's worked in the end, which is weird. But basically I created the Liza show just after I finished in Priscilla, and started doing that, and it was such a big hit.
Hi, I'm Liza, and I'm so excited to be in London.
Tell me, have you ever met Liza?
I haven't. I want to.
You want to?
I do, but I don't know what... I think it's a bit odd. It's like that strange thing of Liza being... I had dinner with Cheetah Rivera once.
Now you're just name dropping.
Now I am name dropping. I had dinner with Cheetah Rivera once, and she had seen me do it, and it was an uncomfortable topic. Let me just put it that way. It's hard because I'm about 1 degree of separation from Liza. I know I'm good friends with Alan Cumming, another name drop, but Alan and I are good friends, and she calls him every day. And then my friend Andy Brittain, who's Michael Feinstein's sound engineer and PA and everything, she calls Andy every day. And so it's really odd because I was having drinks with Alan and he said, "Do you want to see something funny?" And he pulled out his phone and it was all the missed calls that he had, and it just said, Mary Cumming, his mother, Liza Minnelli, Mary Cumming, Liza Minnelli, like 7 missed calls from Liza. And that was just in the afternoon, and I was just like, oh, it's crazy. But I'd love to meet her.
It seems to me that you really should do a duet with Liza. I think.
I would love to be dueling Lizas with Liza herself.
What would you sing with her?
I'd want to do the, I do a duet in my show.
I love the fact that you know what you want to do.
No, I would want to do Does He Love You, which is this terrible song, but I love it. It's just so bad. And she did it as a duet on one of her albums with Donna Summer.
Well, there you go.
And it was Donna Summer and Liza Minnelli, but I think it'd be much better if it was Liza and Liza. I think it'd work really well.
These vagabond shoes are longing to stray and step around the holidays in old New York.
When you're actually putting together a show like Liza with a Z and you're coming to London, you've got new routines. How do you know what will work here versus what will work in Australia or on a gay cruise or wherever you're performing?
Here is interesting because I think that London are very sophisticated, very theatre savvy audience, so you can be more in joke, you can be a bit more, you know, a bit more like that, whereas I think if I found it interesting to see what didn't work in Manchester, for example. Not as many shows up there, different sort of humour. It's very interesting. I mean, I was really scared about doing it in Vienna because, you know, it's not even
Their first language.
It's not even their first language. So, but they loved it. And I think, you know, it's all on instinct, and I do find that I will cut stuff or I will ad-lib around something else if I find that a particular part of the humour isn't working for that audience. But, I mean, funny is funny in most places, but it is, I do find it interesting and on the gay cruises, you know, it's such an international market, they're very American, so trying to please every nationality that's represented on those boats is near on impossible, but you try, you know. Gay is gay as well, so, you know, that helps.
Now, as well as doing your own shows, you've actually been in theatre. And do you have any projects in the future where you're going to be in any musicals that you can tell us about?
Yes, I'm going to be doing a show next year, which I'm not allowed to say what it is. But, yeah, look, I love doing musical theatre as well as doing my own stuff. I think what will be nice about this particular role is I'm actually playing a man, which I haven't done a lot of, weirdly enough, because in Priscilla I was in drag for most of the show, and in Hairspray I was in drag the whole show. So to go from sort of those shows to something, this show's a very legit musical, and to be playing a male role in this is, I think, it's a good thing for me. It's also good for, I think,
nice to mix it up a bit.
Exactly, and I think it's nice for audiences to see a different side of me, and it's certainly one that they haven't really seen a lot of, because, as I say, I've always been in drag, in costume in all my shows. So, but look, I do love doing it, but I do love doing my own shows a bit more, just because, you know, I get to be in charge. I like being in charge. I'm not so good at not being the boss. I really enjoy that.
Give me a little bit of Liza.
Yes. What do you want me to do?
You know, I'm just so thrilled to be here sharing with lovely John Bosch. I really am. No, it's great. It's terrific.